Hey, what's up guys? It's LDJ Writes here and welcome back to my channel. In this vlog, we're going to be finishing Act 3 of the Ivory Crypt. If you guys saw my 2025 writing goals video, you would have known that my original goal was to finish this book by the end of February. It is currently March 9th and I'm not done with the book. However, I'm really close. I'm at 89,000 words out of a possible 100,000. I'm on chapter 30, I believe. I think I'm on chapter 30. I'm deep into Act 3. I'm actually writing the final battle. And I've got about like 3 or 4 chapters left until the book is done. So, in this vlog, I want to finish all of those chapters and put it into this video and talk about my process for Act 3, how the story's going, and just a bunch of different things that is going on with the end of this book. This is actually the second time I'm recording an intro clip for this vlog because I actually recorded one yesterday where I was yapping for 14 minutes straight about my book. And then today when I opened my camera, I realized I recorded that part without my camera microphone. So the audio is really bad. I may or may not include it in this video, leaning towards not, and I'm just gonna like re-record and re-say everything that I said. But what I was basically talking about in that clip was the things that I was struggling with in Act 3 and like the things that I'm worried about, because part of the reason why I did not finish writing the Ivory Crypt in February is because I took a lot of days off from writing. And when it comes to writer's block, I don't really believe in writer's block, or at least not for me, because when I get stuck or when I get writer's block, it's never because I don't know what to write. In fact, it usually comes from the fact that I know exactly what I have to write, but I'm a little apprehensive about writing whatever it is that I have to write. And this usually tends to happen to me at the end of projects. So for example, I'm at the end of the Ivory Crypt and I decide now is when I want to start lagging behind. If you guys remember my Court of Rooks vlogs, you would notice that the same thing happened when I got to the end of that book and it took me a long time to finish. It's usually when I get to the end that I start to slow down and the wheels start to go off the tracks and all that kind of thing. And specifically with the Ivory Crypt, the things that I'm a little worried about handling are some of the main characters' character arcs and, plot stuff. I could have said that in a more elegant way, but you guys know what I mean. This current chapter that I'm in, I'm deep into chapter 30 and I'm about a chapter and a half into the final battle of the entire series. The outcome of this battle pretty much determines who wins the war that's been fought over the last 5 books in this series. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I'm having a good time writing it. The thing that I was a little apprehensive about is like, this has to be the biggest battle and it has to feel like the biggest battle in this series. So I kind of had to approach it in a different way. And like every time I imagine this battle in my head, it's like the battle at the end of Avengers Infinity War or even the battle at Avengers Endgame, just the scale of it all. There's a lot of different pieces moving. I wanted to make sure every character, even the minor characters, had their own like little special moment in the fight. And so far, I think I'm accomplishing that. I just got to the part where Michaela, my main character, my female main character, and Thorian, the main antagonist, are about to have their 1v1 fight. Part 1 of the 1v1 fight, because there's going to be another one. There's going to be something that happens at the end of this one, and then there's going to be like a little pause in the fighting, and then it's going to pick back up. I'm pretty much at the first part of their fight. And yeah, I think the scene's going pretty well, but I still have to wrap up I still have to wrap up certain characters' character development, specifically Michaela, Sebastian, my male main character, and Thorian, the antagonist. And I'm gonna go into a little bit more detail about what specifically I need to handle with their character development. So I have it written in my notes right here. So for Michaela specifically, I wrote, she needs to get rid of her vengeful spirit and embrace forgiveness. And that's kind of been like the theme of her character and like her plot throughout this book, because for most of this series, she's been tormented and, hunted down and had her family members killed, and everyone in her, all the light magicians that she belongs to, that guild, they were all massacred when she was 10 years old. And this was all at the hands of Thorian, the antagonist. And because of this, she has harbored a lot of anger and, vengeance, I guess, for Thorian. And at the end of the 4th book, it's called the Storm Tower, she got a really big power up by bonding with a goddess. The goddess's name is Lumi. She's the goddess of light and prophecies. And because of that, she kind of lost a little bit of her humanity while bonding with this goddess. And it's made her very strong, of course, but she kind of is losing herself the longer that she stays bonded with Lumi. And the only reason why she did that was so she could be on even playing ground with Thorian, who also has bonded with a god. His name is Malvorin. He is the god of chaos and death and destruction, and he's also very powerful. And Thorian, at this point in the story, has completely lost himself to the god of chaos. So Michaela's kind of following suit, just in a different way. Thorian has become fully evil, and Michaela is becoming, I won't say fully good, but she's being more and more influenced by Lumi, which you would think was a good thing, but these gods are not completely benevolent, even if one claims to be the goddess of light and, you know, prophecies, and you think she's a good person. And she's not a bad person, but like, it's hard to explain without spoilers, but that's just where Michaela's at. So her character arc needs to end with her realizing who she is and that she doesn't need this goddess to, you know, I guess, I don't know what I'm saying. As you can see, I'm still trying to figure this out myself. But yeah, that's like what I'm dealing with Michaela. And then for Sebastian, he needs to accept himself for all of his flaws and not give up on his family, including his father, his sister, who's still fighting alongside his father, and his mother. I won't go too deep into his mother, but I will say that she has been pretty much absent for this entire series because she disappeared when he was 10 years old. And this book is the book that really dives into what happened to his mother, the circumstances around her disappearance, and, you know, what he's going to do about it. So the twins, Sebastian and Amora, a lot of their plot for this book was going to find her. And that's all I'm going to say for that. So yeah, I'm still working on Sebastian's. His character development is kind of not as difficult for me because it's pretty straightforward and I've handled it kind of the same kind of thing throughout all the other books, and I need to wrap it up now because Sebastian has made a lot of mistakes throughout this book, but somehow he has found himself at a leadership position of the magicians despite not feeling like he is ready for this title or this responsibility. But time and time again, he has shown that he is ready. He just needs to stop doubting himself. So that's what his character arc is going to culminate in. He's going to finally let go of that doubt and, you know, embrace who he was always meant to be. And then next up, we've got Thorian, the antagonist. His character arc it's going to be an interesting one. I won't say it's a redemption arc, but he's definitely going to do something that at least kind of makes up for all the bad things that he's done throughout this series. And that's all I say about him because anything more will be a spoiler. But I'm not saying it's a redemption arc, but he's at least going to get rid of some of the bad things that he's done, or at least he's going to try and make up for it in some way. But he's very much still the antagonist. He's kind of very scary right now. And yeah, that's Thorian. And last but not least, we've got, oh, nope, not last but not least, second to last, we've got Imogen, who has kind of been absent for half of this book. She went on her own quest. I don't know if I've talked about Imogen a lot on this channel, but she is half human and half magician. But the human side of her comes from a long line of magician hunters. So she's got like a weird kind of heritage thing going on where one side is the magicians and the other side actively hunts down magicians. And because of this, she's not always been accepted by either side, but her role in the prophecy, which this whole series is kind of revolving around, is as the bridge. She's meant to bridge together all different kinds of people, and her arc in this book is actually trying to seek representation for a lot of the underrepresented groups throughout this world that I've built. Because there's like two groups of magicians. There's the magicians who were born in the original 7 houses and they're descendants of the original 7 magicians. And then there's like magicians who have kind of branched off from those houses and their magic is like more diluted because of, you know, breeding with humans, and they still know about the existence of magic, but like their magic is a lot weaker and they don't belong to a certain house or anything. So those magicians, I call them no magi. they are not really represented in the Eldenarian Council. They don't have a seat on the council. Not many of them are even permitted into the cities, the hidden cities around the world. And yeah, Imogen's kind of task is to seek representation for those people and make sure that they're heard in, you know, the world of magic with everything going on, including this war that the Eldenarian Council is asking the Nomaji to help them fight in. But like, one of the main things regarding that, it's like, why would we help you when you guys barely even pay attention to us? And that's like the main thing that Imogen is trying to address in her character arc. So yeah, still gotta wrap that up. I think I've done a pretty good job of that, but yeah, we'll see when we finish the book. And now, last but not least, we've got Remy. Remy is one of my favorite characters in this entire series. He's Michaela's little cousin, and he's not a great fighting magician, but he's got a photographic memory, which is how he became a librarian, which is a guild of knowledge keepers and, you know, magic theorists, and they work in the library at the Eldenarian Council, and Remy has become the youngest ever magician to become a librarian. And his role is really important at the end of the book, which I have not gotten to yet, but I am dreading it, but it needs to happen. And like, I just love Remy so much. He's like he's kind of like the comedic relief of the series, I guess, but he has some emotional moments as well, because like Michaela, he grew up on the run from the antagonists, and his mother died when he was younger. His father raised him and Michaela, but he has a lot of trauma from that as well. I touch on that, him and Michaela's trauma, earlier in this book when they visit the city that they grew up in that was destroyed. And yeah, I'm really dreading getting to his scenes, but it has to happen. It has to happen. But yeah, those are pretty much the things that I have to work on for Act 3. I just realized this clip is 14 minutes long, the same as the other one. It's a lot of rambling. I'm not even sure if any of this makes sense to any of you guys, but if it does, let me know in the comments, or like, let me know if you guys have any questions about anything. I'll try my best to answer them in a way that doesn't spoil things. I just love talking about this book, and I can't wait to finish it actually, even though I'm a little scared about finishing it because I've been working on this since 2017, and the series, I mean, because once I finish this book, I'm done with the series. So yeah, it's been a long time coming, but I am excited to finish this and get to working on other projects. And yeah, done way too much talking. Let's get to writing. Okay guys, so I just finished chapter 30, and yeah, I really wish I could read some of this for you. The entire chapter is the fight. It's, well, half of the 1v1 between Michaela and Thorian. The whole chapter is the fight, which I'm not sure if I've ever actually done that before. Like, there's breaks in the action, of course, and I tried to write it kind of like in a poetic way, almost. Like, it's not just all fast-paced, you know, punch, you know, magic spell, blah, blah, blah. There, I tried to, I tried to jazz it up a little bit, but yeah, some of this stuff is, well, what's open on my screen is not the chapter. It's here, and I think it ended at 2.6 thousand words, which is pretty long for an action sequence. My chapters in this book have been averaging, I think, a little bit over 3,000 words. There's some chapters that are less. As the book's gotten towards the end, they've definitely gotten shorter, which I think I mentioned in another vlog that I was expecting that to happen as the pacing starts to pick up. But yeah, we're at chapter 31 now, and I wanted to actually go through my outline just a little bit. I'm not going to read exactly what's on here. If you guys pause the video and like zoom in, you guys could probably read it. I don't really think any of you guys are going to do that, but yeah. That was chapter 30 we just finished. And I'm kind of deviating slightly from this outline, just a tad. Like I think one scene got pushed down. I'm one chapter ahead because I think there's a short chapter in here that was only like 1.5 thousand words that was not a part of this outline that I made a couple weeks ago. So yeah, we're actually technically in the outline we'd be chapter 31, or I don't know, I'm confusing myself now because it says chapter 30. I just finished chapter 30, and what happens in chapter 30 was not this. So technically this should be chapter 31. Let me actually just change that. This should be chapter 31. This thing right here. I actually wanted to open this to see how many chapters I had left before I actually continued writing. So let's see. So chapter 31 is what's next. Then we got chapter 32. This should be chapter 32. And then this will be chapter 33. And then chapter 34. Oops. Alright, I suck at typing. Chapter 35. That means the book should probably be 35 chapters. This entire... The funny thing is, I probably should make... Before I even get into what I'm about to say, I should probably make a video about how I plot my books. Like a more in-depth video. Because for this series specifically, every book is between 34 and 36 chapters long. I don't even think any of them are 36. I think it's between 34 and 35 chapters. And I do not plan it like that. It just somehow that just happens to be how the chapters work out. And the books are around the same word length, but like they range from 86,000 words to 112. I think the largest book is 112,000 words. So it's kind of crazy that even with the discrepancies in the word count, they all end up being around the same amount of chapters. I think that's kind of interesting how my brain kind of does that it's doing it automatically, but I'm not doing it on purpose, if that makes sense. So I think that's kind of interesting. This book's gonna be 35, one of the longer books by one chapter. But yeah, as you guys can see, the last two chapters I don't have plotted out at all. I just have a wrap-up chapter in... They're both Sebastian's point of view, which that may change. I might have to do a wrap-up. No, actually, that's definitely gonna change because I need a wrap-up chapter for Michaela. But I wanted to look at this outline real quick because the second half of this fight, I'm saying fight, I don't know why I did quotation marks. It is a real fight. The second half of this fight is where the biggest twist in this book is coming from. There's been multiple twists so far. There's been the twist with Sebastian's mother. There's been the twist with what Michaela found on her quest in the beginning, in Act 1 of the book, Act 1 and 2. And yeah, the third and final twist is coming in these next two chapters. And actually, it's not even the third and final twist. It's just the third biggest twist. There's like, I have even like two more smaller twists with two characters who are going to be doing something pretty important. I will spoil it. One of them is Remy. I'm not going to say who the other one is because that's a bigger spoiler. But I will say Remy is involved in the biggest twist that's coming up. And yeah, like I said, I'm not looking forward to what I have to do. But it must be done. It must be done. But yeah, as I was writing this, I wasn't even listening to my IVORY CRYPT soundtrack all the way. I have this one song on my Spotify by Caroline Polachek, but it's a remix of her song. And it's the only song that I had heard of hers at the time. But it's like one of my favorite songs. And then I was like, I wonder what the original version of the song sounds like. And so I started playing the song and I was like, wait, this is pretty good. And then I listened to that whole album where that song is from. And I was like, why did no one tell me about Caroline Polachek beforehand? I was literally listening to her album on loop, writing this entire past chapter. And for some reason, the vibes of that helped me with the fight scene. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you know, that's just how it happened. I'm going to get to work on chapter 31 now, which is the aftermath of the first half of the duel between Michaela and Thorian. And yeah, the outcome of that one was kind of crazy. One scene that I can say is similar to it, and I guess I would say kind of subconsciously inspired it, is the fight with... It's not even a fight. It's when Harry, in the Deathly Hallows, when he gives himself up to Voldemort and Voldemort kills him. That's not exactly what happened in chapter 30, but it's kind of. And I'm specifically thinking about the movie when like he gets killed and then he has that flashback, or not a flashback, he like talks to Dumbledore in heaven. I don't know, he was like in the in-between plane, I guess, because then Dumbledore walks off and then Harry, you know, comes back alive because the Horcrux in him vanished and he was just himself again. That's not exactly what's going on here, but it's like kind of the similar vibe. The next chapter, I literally just came up with this idea, by the way. It's not in the outline. I'm going to have Michaela talk to her parents who are dead. And that's going to kind of, you know, spark the final piece of her character arc that I have in this book. And I literally just came up with that idea while writing chapter 30, because I was like, this is perfect. Because I was kind of struggling with how I'm going to get her to make this jump from where she's been throughout this entire novel to the decision she makes at the end. Because I'm like, I don't think I've done enough groundwork that makes that logical enough to happen. But with this scene idea I have in the conversation she's going to have with her parents, it's going to make a lot more sense, and it's going to be a lot more believable, in my opinion. At least I hope so. So yeah, gonna get to work on that, and I'll check back in when I start on chapter 32. See you guys in a bit. Apologies for being super dark in here, but when I write, I like to write in like, not complete darkness, as you guys can see my lights are up, but I'd like to write without the blinds open sometimes because it helps me get in the zone, especially because I'm listening to my music playlists while I'm writing. But I just wanted to check in. I'm one word away from 100K. I'm not done with the book, but I'm almost at 100K, and I'm almost done with the climax. I'm towards the end of it. I'm like right before, you know, the heroes are about to do their thing, and really enjoying like this entire process of writing Act 3. It's probably been the most fun I've had writing this entire book, which is not always the case because sometimes Act 3 is kind of difficult. Like yesterday, I wrote 10,000 words damn near. I wrote 9.6 thousand words yesterday, and that was kind of insane. And today, you know, I'm making good progress as well. I should be finished with the entire end fight by the end of today. It's currently, let me check the time. It's currently 4:30, so maybe not, maybe I won't finish, but we'll see. I'll definitely be done by the end of this week. But yeah, just wanted to check in at the 100K mark. That's still insane to say. And yeah, I'll check back in when I have something else to say. See you guys. Well, I'm finished with the final battle, which means I'm pretty much done with the book. I have 2 more chapters, one in there goes my light. I'll do this tomorrow. Okay, so like I was saying before I was rudely interrupted by my light turning off, I finished the final battle completely, every scene done, which means there's only 2 more chapters left for me to write in this book. So yeah, I finished the final battle on March 11th. Today is March 13th, is Thursday, and I'm going to be completing the Ivory Crypt. Last night, I actually got to work on Sebastian's wrap-up chapter. I have 6 different things that I need to accomplish in his point of view before his story is like all the way complete. So I wrote about 3 of those last night. That chapter is already pretty big, so I may have to split that chapter into 2 chapters. And then for Michaela, there are 4 things, but there are a lot. There's 2 less things in Sebastian, but the 4 things that Michaela needs to finish before her story's over are a lot more significant than Sebastian's, I would say. So yeah, that's about 10 different things that I need to wrap up before I can finish this book. So today, I'm going to pretty much spend the whole day writing, and I'm not going to stop until I finish this book. So I do have to leave my house at 2 to get my hair cut, which is very much needed because it seems like whenever I record a video, I never have a haircut, and so you guys always see me when I'm like looking homeless and stuff, and I kind of don't like that. So yeah, I need to get a haircut so I can, you know, feel better about myself. But I'm gonna make a little trip out of it. So, you know, after I get my haircut, I'm going to go to one of my favorite coffee shops, which is literally right next door, and I'm gonna write in there for a bit, and then, you know, hopefully we can finish the Ivory Crypt And you know, if we don't finish, then I'll just come back home and then finish it there, and then, you know, wrap up this vlog and wrap up the Eldenarian artifacts as a series. I went yesterday and fully plotted out all the things that I need to finish before I can complete this book, and some of the things that I came up with just really help tie the book and the series as a whole. You know, helps tie everything up. Everything kind of comes full circle. There's, you know, moments that hint at something in the future, but like as the story stands, it could end this way, and like it, you know, is satisfying and makes sense. And I'm really proud of myself for accomplishing that, because, you know, writing a series is very, very difficult. This is technically my second series that I would have completed, but it's my first 5-book series. And yeah, I've learned a lot. Definitely, I think this has some of my best writing. And yeah, I can't wait to share it with you guys in some way, shape, or form. I don't think I mentioned in this video. I mentioned it in other vlogs about the Ivory Crypt, but I do have first drafts of books in this series posted on my Wattpad. So if you guys ever do want to go check those out, you can go check it out on my Wattpad. Link is always in the description. I may or may not be posting the Ivory Crypt there as well. You guys are just gonna have to stay tuned for that. Like always, I've been yapping for way too long. Let's finish the Ivory Crypt.